right, so here is my topic of social class ideology in sports, right? So this is centered on chapter 9, right? So social class ideologies have created invisible boundaries in sports that hinder participation from those in lower classes, all right? So that's kind of my topic and what I kind of discovered throughout this chapter. And there's 3 points that I think we need to focus on. Is that one, most sports perpetuate social class inequalities. 2 is that individuals from lower classes have limited opportunities, which means the American dream is a myth and meritocracy is a myth as well, all right? And then 3, social mobility among lower class families generally has little upward movement, all right? So let's dive into those a little bit more. So some key terms to know throughout this presentation and throughout this chapter in general is social class ideology. So the idea that, economic standings and people have like different, economic positions and classes. And then meritocracy, which is like belief that everyone has the opportunity to be successful and that's dependent on your hard work. And then another was social mobility. So that's kind of the idea or concept that a person can change their like economic situation or their social class throughout their lifetime or in comparison to their parents' lifetime. All right. So going forward, right? So most power in popular sports perpetuates social class inequality. So this is point 1, all right? So power sports are like football, basketball, hockey, stuff like that. Now, the author says that these type of sports actually reproduce the privilege of power people in society, right? So all these different things are things we need to consider, right? So they encourage like ideologies, like the powerful, dominate. If your team's more powerful, you can dominate. And it says these type of sports foster the interests of people and organizations with resources. All right, so like usually those people are in higher classes already, right? And it says the interests of the rich and powerful are protected. So as we said, like those are generally people in higher classes or upper classes, all right? And then wealth and positions of advantage are passed on from generation to generation, which goes on to perpetuate the social class inequalities, right? So an example is NFL CBA. So this is a collective bargaining agreement, right? So Coakley mentions how like this kind of social inequality is perpetuated by sports, and this is an example. So like when the money is tallied from tickets and team revenue, the owner gets a majority percent of that, right? So players get anywhere from 47 to 48% of that, which that doesn't mean like one player gets like 47% of what was made. That means like that 48% is divided among those players. So as you can see, the other 52% goes directly to the owner, all right? And 48% gets divided into like the rest of the players. So that in itself kind of perpetuates the social class thing. It's like the players stay in this class, the owners stay in this class, right? So point 2 is individuals from lower classes have limited opportunities, and the American dream is a myth, and meritocracy is a dream. All right, is a myth. So the American dream is described as like boundless opportunities for individuals to succeed economically and live a happy life. All right, so a lot of this is based on hard work and consumption. All right. Now the reality is that opportunities are limited, and especially from those in lower classes. There's not boundless opportunities, right? Like someone from lower class does not have the opportunity to become a CEO of Microsoft or some big company like that. Now, meritocracy, I have a hard time saying this word a little bit. The ideology is that all people have opportunities to achieve success, income, and wealth is normal, and the inequality is just depending on how hard people work. So now, the problem with that is hard work can bring success, but there's not a direct correlation between hard work and success and hard work and or social class, right? So number 3 is that social mobility among lower class families generally has little upward movement, all right? So social mobility, remember, is the ability to move from like social classes or like change careers and stuff like that. And then here's this story where, this QB comes from an affluent family who has lots of resources and stuff. Thus, he has opportunities to go to camps, get scholarships, go to visits. Now, there's a running back as well who plays for the same team, but he comes from a lower end family, like lower middle class, low income family, and he doesn't necessarily have those opportunities. Like he works maybe just as hard, even harder than the quarterback, but he doesn't get those opportunities, right? Social mobility continued, so this concept is applicable to coaching, being an athlete, general manager, and more. and in my perspective, it goes in hand with racism because it's kind of the same concept. Or social classes generally follow race from here to there, and it's regularly justified. Right. So, conclusion: this issue needs to continue to be recognized. Like there has been movements and attempts at mitigating this, but it needs to be completely corrected. Here are some, I guess, like methods people have been using to try and combat this kind of social class inequality, but there still needs to be more done. All right. So how to address this is providing more opportunities, lowering sport ticket and event costs, sharing stories of those in lower classes, and utilizing sports to create jobs in that specific community. All right. Questions to consider: how would you suggest combating this social ideology? What are some examples of social class ideology that you've experienced or seen? And in which sport do you see this phenomenon the most common? All right, that's it.